paper that I'll be presenting today is Gendered Advertising Through Deodorant Packaging. It's being presented by me, Zelda Coutinho, and it's being guided by Dr. Shantaraju sir. Coming to the abstract of my paper, packaging serves as a key medium in visually advertising a product to the consumers. This medium of advertising is even more relevant in the case of deodorant packaging, as it complements the consumer's buying decision and works into defining the individual's gender. For me, packaging as a key element has been used to decode gender meanings uh, attached with the packaging of the product. And here we have clearly used packaging to understand the divide created between men and women deodorant packaging through various elements such as graphics, text, color, and shape. The two deodorant packagings that have been used for the study are Engage deodorants and Spins deodorant. These both deodorants are being analyzed using the social constructionism theory. Coming to the introduction, packaging acts as a trademark for a manufacturer to leverage their brand over the others available in the product segment. This research has looked at the packaging of deodorants over the other segments of product as it defines the personality of the person and comes with the gender-based connotations attached with it. In the past, there's enough research being done on deodorant advertisements, especially through TV commercials, but there was very little research being done in the area of deodorant packaging. When it comes to deodorant, they are a very versatile product because they define the personality of the person, and someone who goes in for a deodorant product usually looks beyond the usability of the product into what the product promises to deliver in terms of the personality or in terms of its looks. So that's one reason why I chose deodorant as a product specifically to analyze packaging and then to differentiate these deodorant packaging between male and female deodorant packaging and how gender is attached closely through packaging elements. For my review of literature, some of the major papers that I referred to was for the lookout of basically how packaging is used in advertising, how it is used in terms of marketing, and also how how packaging plays a key role in gender as well. So some of the areas that have been touched upon are also in terms of font, color being used in packaging. Some from the researchers that I have referred to, two statements that stood out as a base for my research. One is the product imagery, because product imagery is how you visually look at a product and how it appeals to you. So product imagery aids in creating beliefs and evaluating the brand and the packaging. Giving priority to these beliefs communicated to the product picture enables a better evaluation and a positive attitude towards the product. This is by Robert L. Underwood, 2015. Second statement is regarding packaging, how it aids in as a marketing tool. Why is packaging an important element that we are looking at in our research? The statement goes this way: packaging aids in consumers' buying decision by acting as a promotional tool. Ahmed Rizwan Raheen and Parmar Vishnuan Amin Mohammed Ahmed, 2014. Coming to the methodology for my research, the method that I have used is content analysis. And this is specifically semiotics. Semiotics basically is used to understand the visual elements that are being used into the product packaging, to understand the main motto behind what is the impact it creates. These various visual elements, what is the impact they create on the consumer while looking at a particular product. We have compared the male deodorant packaging with the female deodorant packaging. What is content analysis when it comes to my research? Content analysis is reconstructing the visual aspects on the packaging This includes graphics, text, color, and shape of the packaging. So when we speak about why content analysis is relevant when it comes to deodorant packaging, is any consumer when he enters a supermarket store uh, and scans through these entire shelves to pick up one product, there are many elements that they look out for and something that grabs the consumer's attention. So basically, analyzing these various elements that go into the packaging of the product will give us a better understanding what the brand wants to portray, or what is the gender based analysis that can be driven out of this packaging. Some of the elements that are a part of my coding sheet would be: one is graphics. By graphics, I mean the intricate details of the graphics through the silhouettes used on the packaging. Silhouettes are the visual elements on the packaging, and is one of the visual elements in the packaging. And what basically these details will speak up for me as of what the brand wants to communicate to the consumers. What kind of voice does the brand have? Next comes to the text usage, the name of the brand and the name of the variant. These are the two elements of text that I will be using to analyze through the packaging. Third is color. Color for me here, I'll be using to decode the meaning of the color or the family of the color while associating it with gender. We will be looking at how the female deodorant range is colored and what is the color scheme used for the male deodorant range. Fourth element that I'll be using for my analysis is the shape of the bottle. By shape of the bottle, it means the appearance, that is the structure of the bottle. And how is it different for the male and female deodorant range? Next slide, coming to the results and findings. The first deodorant that I will be using for my analysis to derive my results is the Engage deodorant. Coming to the first element for my content analysis, that was graphics. Here, the women deodorant range, we see that the man is leaning towards the women and the hands are well defined for the women in the women's deodorant range of Engage. Whereas in the men's deodorant range, we find that the silhouette of the man leaning remains unchanged in the packaging, whereas the hands here are not well defined for men. The differentiation that we would see between both these products is that the man, as the leading one, stands out in the imagery that's shown through the graphics. Secondly, we also see that the definition of hand in the women's deodorant packaging gives it a very clear appearance of what is the intention, whereas in the men's deodorant packaging, there is no clear appearance, and that leads to a kind of an illusion. So the kind of confusion that's created between the men and women deodorant packaging gives a very unclear message that the brand wants to put forward. Coming to the text usage, for me, text usage was in two forms. One is of the brand name, and second is of the variant name. When it comes to the brand name, the G alphabet is in a lowercase that is used to spell as Engage, which again gives a very sexual connotations of two G alphabets being used in the smaller case, out of place in a brand name. Second, the font is elongated and shrunk, and here tease means to make fun. The variant name, that is tease, it means to make fun of or to attempt to. Coming to the men's deodorant range, it is spelled in the uppercase as Engage. Here it is different because the font is bold, it is stretched, and the variant name is Urge, which means a strong desire or impulse. But tease is a very negative connotation word that's being used for the women. Deodorant range means to attempt or to make fun of, whereas urge is shown as something very promising, very positive, as it's a desire, it's an impulse, it's something that cannot be controlled. Coming to the color of the packaging, that is for the women deodorant range, there is a use of brighter colors being used, whereas for the men's deodorant range, we find a very stark black color being used. For the women deodorant, when I refer to color schemes, basically, to understand the color element of packaging, I had referred to a book called as The Graphics of Communication, where it speaks about where the bright colors are being used for those who are more uneducated, immature, young, for those kind of an audience, whereas the darker colors are being used for the more educated, the most matured, and the more serious kind of an audience to grab their attention. Coming back to our engaged deodorant packaging, we see how the brighter colors are being saved for the women deodorant, whereas stark black color is only for the male deodorant packaging. We all know that engaged deodorant packaging comes in a color coordinated for women and men deodorants. Some of the color combinations that they have is yellow and black, they have pink and black, they have blue and black. This is the kind of color range that they have. And again, the brighter colors and the darker colors, you can see the differentiation clearly. Coming to my last element, that is the shape of the bottle, we see that in the women engaged deodorant packaging, the top has a slight curve that narrows down towards the bottom, whereas the men's deodorant range is narrow on the top and bulgy at the bottom. One thing that you will find in this is body shape being represented through the packaging, where women are more slimmer, trimmer, and that's the kind of body image that we see for women, whereas for men, it's the more, they are allowed to be a little more masculine, a little more healthier in terms of that. Uh, the second element that you would say is a kind of the representations of the shape of the bottle is again represents sexual connotations which are being represented through the shape. Moving on to the next brand range that I took for my deodorant packaging is Spins deodorant. The Spins deodorant range, here we see that they have a whole range of for women and men deodorants, mainly focusing on the theme of adventure sports when it comes to their graphics. So some of the adventure sports that are being represented for women are mostly zip lining, rock climbing, and cycling are some of the adventure sports that are being represented in their graphics. So what we could analyze from the packaging is that these are less effort, physical adventure sports that the brand wanted to focus on. Whereas in the men's range, they involve more daring sports like river rafting, biking, and skydiving was some of the daring adventure sports that were displayed through their graphics on the packaging. Moving on to the next slide. Yes, here you will see the two images. One is the whole range of men deodorants packaging, where they have something like adventure sports like skydiving, bike ride. The yellow range has something of bike riding, and the first is something with adventure water sports. Whereas in the women's range, you have adventure sports like zip lining, cycling, and the third one, the purple range, is of rock climbing. Coming to the text used, so you will find that in the Spins for the women range is for the thrill seeker. Yes, the women's range is thrill seeker, and we find that in the women's range, the text used is the variant name is thrill seeker, but there is no clear mention of Spins women or any such thing. It's just mentioned as Spins as the brand name. Whereas when it comes to the men's deodorant packaging, here there's a clear mention of made of explicit mention of Spins men, in that too in men in bold and uppercase letters, whereas for women there's no such mention being made. Again, the men's range is being named as master mover. There's always a term, an extra word being used to create more emphasis on the kind of product in the kind of variant name for the men's deodorant packaging. Let me take you one slide back to show you that. Here you will see that the names are Master Mover, High Flyer, High Rider, whereas women's deodorant range is plainly named as Thrill Seeker, Trailblazer, and Enchant. That's it. So there's no additional word being used to give it more emphasis as compared to the male deodorant range. Coming to my third slide, that is color. Here again, you will find the same similarity that we could see in the engaged deodorant range, where the brighter colors are being used for women and the darker color shades are being used for men. Again, here, Spins deodorant follows a color coordinated themes, color coordinated combination for the male and female deodorant packaging, where women deodorants are orange, purple, red in color, and the male deodorants are a stark black color, only using the color combination of the women deodorant range like orange, purple into their graphics and the logo at the most. But in this particular case, they have used it just in the to show it as a 48 hours protection that the deodorant offers. Coming to the shape of the bottle, for the women's range, it is a long and narrow shape, whereas for the men's deodorant range, it is round and it is sturdy. So again, giving the kind of body image representation, and you could also work on the same lines that engaged deodorant was also giving out sexual connotations through this thing. But here it's more to stick to body images that we could uh, analyze. Coming to the next slide, here I have used rough sketches to give you a representation of what I exactly mean by the shape of the bottle, or yes, the shape or the structure of the bottle. So here, through the sketches that I've created for Spins deodorants on top and the engaged deodorants below, you can see how the Spins deodorant is more narrow for women, whereas for the men's deodorant packaging, it's more broader at the base. Whereas again, on the lines of the engaged deodorants that I spoke about, the structure of the bottle, where it's bulging outwards for men and it's rounded at the bottom, whereas for the women, it's curvy, women packaging, it's curvy on the top and it is narrow at the bottom. Coming to the conclusion, the theory that I have used to analyze both of these deodorant brands is the social constructionism theory. This particular theory is given by the sociologists Peter Alberger and Thomas Lukeman. So on a whole, when I analyzed both the deodorant packaging, what I found is that the design of the packaging reflects the shared assumption that society has constructed of a relationship between men and women in reality. And this stands through when I look at the engaged deodorant packaging, where its main highlight in its graphics, in its kind of variant name that it is given, is more focused towards the relationship between the man and the woman, the kind of bond that they share with each other. So that would be the major focus of engaged deodorant packaging that I was able to analyze from its packaging. Another element that stood out in terms when it comes to analysis that I could conclude in my findings is that engaged deodorant focused on women being an object of pleasure, whereas men was the leading one in the relation that could be analyzed through the packaging of the brand. Coming to the Spins deodorant range, the Spins deodorant range, when we use the social constructionism theory and view at the findings, we find that the construction of assumption roles of gender was the focus of this particular brand. We see that the shared assumption of gender roles that society has constructed for men and women are being reflected through the brand, where men have been given activities that require more effort, that are more masculine, that are more energy driven, whereas women are given the more lighter activities that require lesser energy, that portrays them as more fragile compared to the male category of deodorant range. So that's coming to the main conclusion of my whole research would be when it comes to deodorant packaging as a whole, combining the male and female deodorant packaging, I can conclude that gender specific messages are being used by deodorant by deodorant brands, are used by deodorant brands specifically to grab the attention of their consumers, to make it more appealing to their consumers. So that's basically my whole gist of my research. And these are my references that I've referred to. And thank you.